Hello there, fellow awakening mammals. In today's episode, we'll explore the intriguing theory that the United States might not have truly won its War of Independence. Before my American friends object, let me acknowledge that I am well aware the United States fought back the British and officially won the Revolutionary War in 1783. But what if we ask the question differently? Did the US truly become independent from Europe's old power structures? The founding fathers of the US wanted to break away from the kings and nobles that ruled Europe. They dreamed of creating a new kind of government based on democracy and individual freedom. Influenced by Enlightenment ideas, they wanted to design a system with checks and balances so that no one person or group could have too much power. But did they succeed? Well, that is a more nuanced question, and I guess that is why we are doing this video. But before we begin, let me clarify. Here at Awakening Apes, we're not trying to criticize the US. My family and I live here, and we love being Americans. Our goal is to spark thoughtful conversations on potentially controversial topics. We approach these discussions with respect and without intending any harm. So, is there evidence to support this claim? Let's begin with a statement that is easily debunked. All, or at least most, US presidents are related to the British Crown. While it's true that many presidents are related to European nobility, but so do many Americans with European roots. The real question should be, are presidents more closely related to the British nobility than the average person? The answer is no, with some interesting exceptions. If you've been following my channel, you know I find flags fascinating. They reveal a lot about our history, including stories that might have been forgotten over time. Can you guess what flag this is? Of course you can. This is the flag of Washington, D.C. Most people believe the three stars represent the separation of power, as in legislative, executive, and the judicial, which would make sense. But in reality, it represents George Washington's family's coat of arms. We can trace his family back to English nobility, specifically a nobleman named Wessington. Ordinary families typically don't have a family flag. If the founding fathers aimed to distance themselves from old nobility, why did they opt for an English coat of arms as the nation's capital flag? I'll be skipping over the countless Freemasonry symbols in and around DC for this video. It's such a complex topic that it deserves its own episode. A quick side note. While most US presidents may not have direct ties to European nobility, they share an intriguing connection. A striking number of nobles have a specific blood type, Rh negative, and many US presidents share this blood type as well. We made a whole video where we talk about blood types. Go watch it. Okay, George Washington was one person. Are there more examples? I'm glad you asked. There are a lot more examples in US politics, but let us concentrate on a different aspect of power. If you want to distance yourself from old power structures, we need to look into old money as well. Are there families that were insanely rich in Europe and moved to America to influence the newly created nation? Well, there are. Let me introduce to you Mr. Paul Warburg. He was born into a rich German banking family. He moved to the US and was an original member of the Federal Reserve Bank. He was a stark advocate for our current central banking system. He was also present when they infamously created the Fed on Jekyll Island. He became a partner of Kuhn, Loeb and Co., a company that later merged with the Lehman Brothers. Paul's brother married Nina Loeb, the daughter of the company's boss, Solomon Loeb. He was also German, by the way. The company is well known for financing the construction of the American railroad system. There is so much more to say about the Warburg family, but it is safe to say they brought their wealth and influence from the old world to the new world. Interesting side remark is that the Warburg family didn't originally come from Germany either. Before relocating to Germany, they were already an ultra-rich Venetian banking family known as Del Banco. Their name suggests their profession. It's also possible they weren't originally from Venice, but we'll explore that aspect of their family history in a future episode. How authentic can the formation of the US be when there are ancient families who significantly influenced its history? Does this represent the true spirit of the founding fathers? You all have probably heard of the term corporate America. It describes the notion that corporations dominate America. But what if it is more than just that? What if it is the other way around? What if a giant corporation founded a nation? You think I'm crazy? Well, let us look at a different flag. The flag of the East India Trading Company. No, not this one. This is a fake flag. For some reason, the directors of Pirates of the Caribbean felt the urge to change the flag. This is what the actual East India Trading Company's flag looks like. Does it remind you of anything? In my opinion, it has a striking resemblance to the US flag. If that is true, what is the original meaning of the 13 stripes? Now, if we step a few steps back, let us explore how Britain gained its strength. Britain never had significant power on land. They dominated the world with ships. They were essentially a sea power and had ports all over the world. Doesn't this also remind you of our current superpower? I believe the US has 11 aircraft carriers, which they use in almost the exact same way. If some nation dares to endanger US interests, they send an aircraft carrier. If we go back even further in time, we can see the same with previous empires. Before the British, the Dutch and the Spanish dominated the oceans. Before them, we had Venice, which dominated the Mediterranean. If you look at the map, you can see how the great empires moved westwards. Our earlier example with the Warburg family demonstrated this phenomenon perfectly. First Venetian, then German, and lastly American. So, is it possible that old powerful families move from one empire to another? If so, is it possible that those families not just simply migrate, but are essential for said empire to become a superpower? So what about today's world? Now the US has by far the strongest navy, and their economy dominates the rest of the world. But does Britain still have influence over the US? The answer is yes. Within London, there is a small district named the City of London, which is an extremely important financial hub. With its offshore banking system, they still have a large say globally, including the US. If the Founding Fathers were still alive, do you think they would believe they succeeded in achieving their original vision? Or would they think they failed to break away from the old power structures? So, what do you think? Is this just all a big coincidence or a product of too much fantasy? What is your take? If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, and if you don't want to miss our next episode, please subscribe. Thank you for watching and see you next Thursday.